Episode 3861, when saying yes leaves your spouse waiting.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. I hope you're having a fabulous weekend. Can you believe it? It is almost November. All right, don't have a freak out moment because I already am for us. And so take a deep breath. It's all about who you're sleeping with when saying yes leaves your spouse waiting. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already haven't had the opportunity, you'll want to head on over to createyournow.com where you can learn more and sign up for the Kisses newsletter, the Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. Okay, you know the story, right? It's all too familiar. The calendar fills up with commitments and invitations and obligations. It just gets thicker and thicker and thicker. Someone asks and the default response from you is, sure, I can help, or count me in, I'll be there, no problem. Only later, though, your spouse looks up, realizing that those dozens of external yeses have quietly pushed the relationship down the list of priorities. Now, you didn't do it maliciously or neglectful. No, it's far from that. It's often just a simple lack of boundaries and margin that leads to a spouse being present for everyone else, but not fully present for the person who matters most, the one you're sleeping with. And that's why we're where we are today. It's when saying yes leaves your spouse waiting. And this is a pattern that quietly threatens marriages. It does. It threatens your marriage, whether you believe it or not. I know I've lived it. I talked to countless couples, and specifically the wives, and they're like, I don't know what it is. I mean, he gets mad at me, but I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm thinking, no, you're not. You're leaving out the person who is supposed to be mattering most to you. Just right underneath God. Seriously. And that's where we falter. And we're not doing it directly. We don't mean to. And if we are, that's another conversation. That's not what we're talking about here, by the way. But when we've got all this stuff piling up, the demands and distractions, they begin to multiply exponentially and you wonder why you're drowning. When you say yes to too many people, your spouse can feel sidelined, forgotten, or less important, not because you don't love them, because you do, but your time and energy, there's none left for them. All you're giving them are the leftovers. And if you have a spouse who doesn't like leftovers, you're in for a rude awakening. And I'm talking about those leftovers as in the kitchen, but also the leftovers as in the bedroom. So how do you avoid this trap? How do you keep your marriage strong and connected when your calendar is bursting and requests come nonstop? How do you find that harmony? Where is the point where you say enough is enough, or I've got to change this? My friend, you got to guard your margins so you can honor you and your spouse. That is your kiss to keep it simple strategy. Guard your margins. And it's hard to do. I know it is. Because a lot of times now we think we can do anything. We are amazing. Why? Technology. Oh, could you just send this off for me? Oh, sure, I'll go do it. And next thing you know, 35 minutes later, with 3 other interruptions, another 35 minutes later, and you still have not accomplished the one thing that should have taken 10 minutes. I know I just finished something like that. I was told, you know what, Christiane, could you do this for me? Would you like to do it? I said, oh, sure, that seems simple. No problem. It should only take about 30 minutes. Okay, I'll take care of it. I jumped into it. I kid you not, about 2.5 hours later, and I'm thinking, okay, am I not catching the right thing? Maybe I'm not really settling. I'm aiming too high for excellence, right? It depends on what's happening and what you're doing in your world. But you see, we can't sit here and act on everybody else's, and it's only going to be. We got to guard our margins. Because if not, who's guarding your marriage? Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow. And it's a reality, unfortunately, a lot of families face. And it comes at the time of what? holidays. And my friend, holidays are here. Do you have the Christmas trees out? Shh, I won't tell anybody. You could tell me. I won't say anything because I'm about ready to get mine out. Shh, don't tell anybody that I just told you that. But seriously, I love Christmas. And if I'm going to have multiple Christmas trees, they got to go up soon because it takes me too long. And so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, am I going to go ahead and decorate early? Do I want to go ahead and have all the trees up for Thanksgiving? What does it look like? And I might. And I might go a little bit less, not sure. There's a few other things, and I'll keep you kind of in the mix as to what's going on. We're going to be filming a new season for our TV show coming up for the holiday season. And then we've got new season, obviously, here every single day on the podcast. So there's a lot moving. And then we've got the new website. We're going to be launching the PJ Party and AIM. It's coming together fast. Oh, and did I tell you? We are officially, yes, a nonprofit, but a 501c3, which means when you donate and you give us a gift, you can tax deduct it. And I am so grateful that we're going to be able to reach more people by actually being able to use this as a ministry and an outreach. It's not changing anything that we're doing here. We're still going to have fun, right? But we can still have fun. Why? Because we're living authentically God's way. And I think a lot of people hide from that. It's like, no, I only need them when we go to church or a 911 situation or whatever, or when something really happens and I can say a prayer when I'm in devotions. No. God's with you every single day. He's with you right now. Even as I'm talking, he's right with you, right? So we've got to understand where we are. And in marriage, we've got to realize too that God's with us. He's with you in the bedroom. He's with you in the shower. I know you're thinking, Christiane, I don't want to hear this, but we need to hear this. Because here's the thing. Sometimes that initial pause of that grabs us is enough to make a different decision, which becomes the better decision. You follow? And that's when you have to guard your margins. That's when you have to say, okay, where do I need to be with my marriage right now? And what do I have on my list, on my calendar? Do I really need to say yes, or do I need to pull back? So I want to go over some practical things we can do in our real everyday life that will allow you to guard your margins and honor your spouse plus yourself. Number 1, audit your commitments before saying yes. Yep. You got to be in the numbers world. You just do. You got to audit. Before accepting every invitation or request for help, take a moment to check in with your calendar and yourself. And then I would add, and your spouse. Okay. In that order, look at your calendar and do this gut check and ask yourself, how much free time do I actually have? And more importantly, how much quality time margin do you want to preserve with your spouse? Because I remember back in the days when we did Praise Kids, and this is when we had 120 kids or so from the ages of 3 up to 12th grade. We had 2 separate groups, and we would do basically with the little kids, 3 to pre-K, we would do mini musicals. So cute. They were so adorable and so precious. And then with the older kids, kindergarten through 12th grade, we would work and have actual mini Broadway musicals that were Christian. And we would put these on and we would have as many as 5 or 6 performances. And that was for a season. And we would practice every week. And then when it came time, we would practice almost every other day. It was a commitment. And let me tell you, all of the kids and all of my Praise Kids, hey, by the way, some of them actually do listen. And that's why I have to give a shout out to. And they're older now. Can you believe it? My Praise Kids that I used to have are now having kids of their own. I'm thinking that really ages me. That's all I got to say. We'll leave that one for another episode. Aging gracefully. Yes, we're all aging gracefully. But serious, it's one of those things where I was committed to that. And it was at a very tough time in the season of life called holidays. Right? You've got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, and I was in the hustle and bustle. And I know my wonderful, lovely, amazing husband got very flustered with that. Even though he knew that what we were doing was an incredible ministry within the community and the church, it kind of irked him at times. And I totally get it. And it wasn't because of what we were doing and how we were doing it. It was just that it was taking quality time away from the two of us becoming together and being better together, right? So it's one of those things where maybe you need to create a mental or physical checklist. Will this commitment add meaning, or will it drain the limited time you and your spouse have together? Ask yourself if you're saying yes out of obligation, guilt, or habit rather than genuine enthusiasm. If you're just saying yes because you think you need to, then you need to say no. Or you need to at least say, I need to check my schedule and I'll get back with you and give them a deadline and get back with them. Because when you hesitate and you're like, and it's that initial, that's a red flag, my friend. It is. Learning to say no or not this time is an act of respect for your marriage. And I think a lot of us need to hear that more often. And I know I had to learn it the hard way at times. And it's not that my husband was mad at me, but he was like, when am I going to get my wife back? And we would slow down for about a month or so. And then guess what? We ramped up for spring season. And it was wonderful, but then it wasn't so wonderful. And years would pass. Even when we moved, we started up another group. And yes, it was something that was my ministry and truly something that I know God specifically laid on my heart. But here's the thing. If what you're doing within the community, the church, even in your own business, if that is breaking down the family structure, you need to stop and you need to have some serious conversations first with yourself and God, and then who it involves. So your spouse and then the family. And I'm being serious about that because if not, things are going to get out of hand very, very quickly. And that's when bitterness shows up. And that's when things happen and we go down roads and paths that we don't want to. So really learn to say no or to pause and say, okay, I need to check my schedule. I'll get back with you. That is the greatest respect you can give to your marriage. Number 2, schedule protected time on your calendar. Don't just let spouse time, right? The time you spend with your hubby or your wifey just happen if your life feels like a runaway train. Block it out deliberately. I mean, put a big red X on it and say, nope, this is blocked. Or color code it. Maybe your spouse loves purple, so you mark it all in purple. That is hubby time. I'm going to protect that time. And when you do that, it might be, okay, maybe you want to go for a date night or a dinner out after the kids are asleep even, or you can have a dinner in, or maybe it's dessert. I mean, why not? Or simply an hour of uninterrupted time on the couch. Mark these as a non-negotiable. You know, if you haven't heard, Karen Kingsbury, The Christmas Ring, oh my goodness. Okay, number 1, get her book. Number 2, go to the movie. And this is a great date night, okay? November 6th, it opens up in theaters. Get your tickets now. You can go to KarenKingsbury.com. Call your theaters, and if it's not there, find one locally or ask your theaters to put it in because it is national. You want it to come in. It is a great movie. I had the honor and the privilege, number 1, to read the book early. Number 2, to preview and actually watch the whole movie early. It is incredible. It's a date night. It's a fun night, and you want to go out and see it. Okay, so that is my thing there. Enjoy it, especially for the holidays. And sometimes we need those escapes. Sometimes we need that warm sense of, oh, that's what it feels like. Because we're caught up in everything else. Let me tell you, when you're holding your phone, and listen to me carefully, you cannot feel the love of your spouse in your phone. In fact, it neutralizes it. Yes, you can send these cute emojis, you can send pictures, you can do FaceTime. I get all of that, right? You can connect that way. I get it. But there's nothing more special and invigorating than face-to-face, hand-in-hand, hug to hug. When was the last time you did that with your spouse? When was the last time you gave your spouse a hug? Seriously. If you don't know the answer quickly, it's been too long. So when you are looking at scheduling that protected time on your calendar, treat it with the same seriousness you give business meetings or social engagements, the community engagements or the church engagements, right? Whatever it is, say, oh, no, this is a priority. You don't sit there and say, I can change this. No, you cannot. You cannot. If your spouse sees that their time is sacred, it reduces feelings of neglect and strengthens your connection. And that means you are getting a deeper bond. You're growing together, right? And you're building a foundation that's what? Unbreakable. And that makes you all as a couple unstoppable. And this kind of intentional scheduling also sets clear boundaries for others about when you're unavailable. Like, it just isn't going to work. And they know, okay, every Saturday night, it's not going to work for her. So we're not even going to approach it. Or if they do, say, hey, I know this is usually the time that you go out with Bobby, but would you be willing? And it's might be a yes at that moment, or it may be a no. It's amazing what you do and how you are training also others to treat you as a couple. That's important. And when are we talking about this? We're not. When was the last time you went and talked with your girlfriends and had a coffee together and said, gosh, are you scheduling protected time on your calendar for your hubby? We're not talking about that stuff. You need to be talking about it, and you need to have that protected time. Number 3, communicate your priorities openly and early. Telling your spouse you're swamped only after they feel ignored is way too late. Instead, have honest conversations before the busy season starts, right? Don't wait till, oh man, I have been so swamped. No. That's way too late. I am so busy, babe. Well, so is he, right? That's why we're talking about it now. Create your now before the holidays. Share your commitments openly and ask for their input. Ask your hubby, ask your wife and say, what do you want me to do here? I've got this. I mean, my husband and I, we were just texting about it earlier yesterday. And he said, I think I'm going to be gone on this day. And it's in December. And he goes, what do you think? And I said, oh, well, that's fine. Let me look at the calendar. I looked at the calendar. I said, that's fine. Not a problem. I know where we'll be. Go for it. If they can make it work, do it. He goes, okay. You got to share your commitments openly. Talk about it. Don't assume that the other person, oh yeah, they'll be okay with it. Maybe they won't be okay with it. And that's when you start having all of this different tension that builds up. And that's when you start building brick walls that get thicker and thicker and thicker, and chaos begins to build. And then you have your own the cavities within the heart and the bitterness and the resentment, and you know where this goes. Don't go there. Work together. Make adjustments proactively rather than reacting when resentments sneak in, because they're going to, whether you want them to or not. And so don't get to that point. Put out the fire before the fire happens. When your spouse feels heard and you show you're fighting for their time, for you all to be together, it builds trust and a partnership even when life's demands are high. And we know they're going to be that way. It's just a part of life. When you guard your margins and prioritize your relationship amongst all the chaos, you protect something priceless. You protect marriage. And let me tell you, marriage is one of life's deepest, most beautiful gifts ever. And when you are protecting it, both of you flourish. When you carve out that time, not just to be in the same space, but to truly be together, because you're better together. Now, the holidays and busy seasons are going to come and go, but consistent, intentional choices about where you invest your energy, it sets a tone for a marriage that thrives rather than just survives. You don't want to be that couple who's like, oh yeah, it's all right. And in public, you're like, oh yeah, we're just so in love. But behind closed doors, it's like, oh man, I just hope he leaves today. Hope he has a late night at work. If you've ever mumbled that kind of stuff, that's a red flag. Something's not working. So take a deep breath before you say yes next time. Really look at your schedule. Know your commitments. Talk to your spouse and say, what do we want to do as a partnership together, as a couple together? What does our calendars look like? Ask yourself if this commitment is pushing your spouse further away or drawing you all closer. Being better together means making space for each other in the middle of life's noise. And let me tell you, life can get so noisy. But you know what? I'm here to tell you, that's a commitment worth guarding. So treat your spouse with the respect that they deserve. Also, treat yourself with that respect. Guard your margins so you can love deeper and love well. Go in peace. Be present. Be incredible. Be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed day. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.